This is Carrie Johnson with the Iowa Department of Management, and this segment is going to provide a brief overview of the Department of Management valuation system, particularly as it relates to checking errors, um, reviewing assessment limitation, and other things of that nature that you'll need to make sure are completed prior to trying to submit value to the Department of Management system. So, one thing to keep in mind is that in order to run a report that provides estimated TIF revenue for the TIF areas in your county, the current year TIF rates need to be populated. The system should populate rates for you, but if they're not appearing for any existing increment districts, you want to click the populate rates at the bottom of the screen. You also need to enter the TIF rate for any newly created TIF increment district that were new in the valuation year. Obviously, our system is going to have rates for existing districts for the current year, but anything that's new, there is no current year rate to be had. So you'll have to calculate what that rate would need to be and then select save. Make sure to complete your errors checks prior to submitting or trying to submit your data to Department of Management. When you run the errors checks, you may see red errors and yellow warnings. A red error is going to prevent you from being able to file your data. So it is something you will need to correct prior to trying to submit your data. If it's a yellow warning, those are simply items that you want to review and make sure that you agree with what's being reported. For instance, you might be reporting taxing districts that have a frozen base amount of zero, which is possible. Certainly could be the case, but the system's just making sure that that is your intent and not, a piece of data that was missing, etc. But warnings won't prevent you from filing data. Red errors will. The rollback worksheet is just a way for the system to help you verify that your application of assessment limitation to your properties makes sense. So essentially, what happens is that the system is going to pull the 100% value from what you submitted, and it's going to apply the appropriate assessment limitation for that class of property, and it's going to do the calculation to produce a taxable value. It will then compare that to the taxable value from that you've submitted in your file and see what the difference is. We would expect some differences just due to rounding, for instance. But if these differences are in the, say, 4 and 5 figures, and you see red here, that might be a situation that causes you to take another look and see what's going on. I will say that for commercial, industrial, railroad, and then this year with utilities, because of the sort of variance, the two-tier limitation for commercial, industrial, and railroad, and the differential rollbacks within the utility class. This check doesn't quite work, but it does work for your residential and your ag land, which is a significant part of value for a lot of folks. In the rollback worksheet screen, you can open up the document. You can download it if you want to print it off and sort of try to figure out where these differences are coming from. In this particular example, differences of 2 and -35 would not be something to be concerned about. But again, if you're seeing red in that final column, that means another look needs to be taken. Some of the common errors that folks run into when they do that errors check. So, just some things to be aware of. You may have created new TIF increment districts, but not yet assigned them to their urban renewal or TIF areas. So, they're just kind of hanging out there, but have no umbrella to go under. So, make sure you take that step. Also, we'll end up with city ag land reported in non city ag taxing districts, or value other than city ag land reported in city ag taxing districts. So just a couple of the more common errors that we see to be aware of. If you do have questions about errors you're seeing or anything you're seeing in the rollback worksheet, etc., please feel free to contact me via phone or by email. Thank you.